When I came to, someone was trying to help me. And then this is what he says, and it might be, I'm not kidding, my favorite line we've ever had in a movie because it's so amazingly silly in the best way. Because nobody... Okay, here it is. When I came to, someone was trying to help me. And we've already seen the flashback. This is him explaining it after. And in the flashback, it comes to like a first-person view, and it's super out of focus, right? Yeah. And so it comes to... And then the dad goes, when I came to, someone was trying to help me. They were out of focus. But they did help me.
When I came to, someone was trying to help me. They were out of focus, but they did help me.
Yes.
They were out of focus. You are describing the movie. That's not how human beings talk. They were out of focus.
Might be how elves talk.
Hello and welcome back to the 65th episode of Good Bad or Bad Show. We watch terrible movies to tell if you should too. Your host, Mr. Brian Shiligo. Not Neil Breen this week, unfortunately. The other host, Mr. Kyle Hinton.
I might be Neil Breen.
You may be.
Or else.
You haven't seen the end yet. We're recording this right after I got done editing the last episode, and the ending is fantastic.
Oh, boy.
It's really good.
Oh, boy.
The movie we're talking about today is a fan recommendation. Got this a couple weeks ago, I think, and it led me down a little YouTube black hole.
Yes, you were Alice in Wonderland, and
yes.
you followed that rabbit, and it went into dark places.
It went into not dark, actually really interesting, and really interesting places. Not dark, no darkness in this one.
Well, it's not like I'm expecting the guy to go from making his Lord of the Rings knockoff to like doing a hardcore porn.
No, but it's well, like, you know, some of them get a little, like when we went down the rabbit hole, that was the guy that did a Time Machine. That got a little weird. This doesn't get
meltdown.
Yeah, I don't know about melt. Oh, that was a whole weird. That was just weird too. So Hotbod's clothing provided the wardrobe, the sleeveless cutoffs, and all that. Wait till you see this website.
Oh God! Please tell me he's like a model for it.
No, but look at this website.
Whoa! What? Give me that.
Look at these guys. Look at the Photoshop on this. It's so good. Look. So I did some more. They have a children's line. This one's just interesting. Also weird, but interesting. Anyways, the film, it's a 2003 film, The Unexpected Race. This is, well, we'll get to that later, what this is. But it's written, directed, produced by a man named Stephen Grew, who, this is the rabbit hole. He has a YouTube channel that you can check out called Utah Wolf Productions, where a lot of the trailers for his films and some of his, he has made a lot of short films and like shorts and like short series and stuff like that. He has like hundreds of movies on his YouTube channel, all very low budget. He makes these all himself. He produces them, he writes them, he directs them, he stars in a lot of them. He seems to shoot them a lot of times with families and friends. He graduated, I believe, from Brigham Young University with a fine arts film degree.
I have no clue where that's at.
It's in Utah. It's the Mormon University.
BYU?
Yeah, that's Brigham Young.
That's BYU?
That's BYU, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that's right. Brigham Young.
Nebraska, get wrecked. BYU beat them.
Oh, okay.
I think it was like last year, but it's like it was a money game, and they came in and lost a money game.
But yeah, Brigham Young is like, I believe it's the Mormon University in Utah, probably in Salt Lake, but I don't know. So he went to BYU, and he now makes movies, and lots of them, and they're a trip.
Where has he been? I don't know. I've called his house. I've dropped by. There's just no sign of him.
I can't believe you're a vampire, Derek. Come on.
Well, believe it. They're a delight. There's also, more recently, somebody just made a documentary about this man called The Insufferable Grew. Because in the documentary, they portray him as rather tough to work with at times. Mm-hmm. He disputes that in interviews I've seen with him since then. He's not happy about his portrayal in the documentary.
Now, are you telling me that grows on you?
No.
Oh,
the opposite.
Right, the opposite.
Good Lord.
There's some puns.
Yeah,
when you have a name like Gru.
Yes, there is. But so he disputes that. He thinks he's a delight to work with. You can check out the documentary and choose for yourself. But the man, you cannot take this away from him. He makes the movies he wants to make, and he makes a lot of them. Mm-hmm. The one we're talking about today, like I said, The Unexpected Race. It is a very clearly inspired by something like, say, Lord of the Rings or any high fantasy. There's elves. This movie's about elves. That is The Unexpected Race. I
honestly thought they had like Vulcan ears on at some point.
It kind of looks a little. I mean, they're elves, so they're like elven. You know, you're not too far removed from Vulcan ears, and elven ears aren't that far apart on the ear extension tree. They're not worlds apart. So the way this story starts is we get introduced to a young girl. Well, there's opening credits. Sorry, there's an opening slate that sets up the world. It says it's 2003. People believe their whole lives that elves did not exist, that they are just mythical creatures. At the height of technology in the industrial world, the race of elves were discovered to be real. In the 60s, a band of FBI agents seek them out and destroy the entire race, except for one.
I really wanted this to be like Santa elves or maybe Keebler elves.
Keebler elves. No, unfortunately, it's high fantasy.
I wanted the last
woodland elves
one to be. I wanted it to be Ernie.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to fight the FBI.
Yeah.
To avenge his fallen fudge round comrades or whatever, shortbread cookies.
Yeah.
It's enough to get me to the boiling point.
The Unexpected Race is a very interesting. Doesn't really capture what the movie's about necessarily. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess he was unexpected, and he's a race of being.
An unexpected race sounds like something like, I don't know, Death Race or something like that. It sounds like a situation. Better yet, Running Man. Yeah, Running Man is an unexpected race. Guy gets captured, thrown in, forced to fight for his life, and they get great prizes.
Yeah, but
I love it.
No,
nobody's gonna understand that reference.
People have seen the Running Man.
Well, I love it's from the video game based off Running Man.
I love it.
Oh, is that was whatchamacallit based on?
Was it SmackDown TV or something like that?
No, I've played that. Yeah, I love it. I totally know what you're talking about. No, it's a Smash TV. Smash TV, I think is what it was. Yeah.
Big money, big prizes. I love it.
We open up in this what I assume looks like it looks like a double wide trailer. I don't know if it is, but it's got green carpet, which hideous. Why does any apartment / house / anything ever have green carpet? The interior design of this house in general is not the world's greatest. But so we're introduced to this family.
Some great blocking in this scene.
The blocking in all of these and it's a lot of locked down wide shots of action happening. Of
input scene from my movie now.
Oh man, what is this crap?
What?
Batman meets the Wolfman? What the fuck is this, Abbott and Costello?
It's just to sell books.
Well, they could at least put some goddamn effort into it. I mean, when's the last time you heard a comic book where somebody died? All it is people crossing universes.
You know what? I didn't think of that, but this movie is shot very similar to your movie.
It's painful.
You worried about me?
Just be careful.
You worried about me?
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't even think about that. But to be fair, in your movie, at least your movie's about like... This one is like at times an action movie. Where you should shoot that a little more. At least the action scene you should probably try to come up with a slightly more interesting way to shoot
What I did was I took low concept and then I did less.
And then did low execution. They went high concept, low execution. So
I didn't have a lot to fail from. That's the good news. It's like going down the bunny slope or the low dive.
Yeah.
It's like, if you screw up.
Yeah, you're out a couple $100 or whatever. But anyway, so we're introduced to this family. They're arguing. It's a mother and a father arguing, and I love that she's telling him, like, you don't spend enough time with the family. You don't even care about us.
You sacrifice everything but you. You sacrifice everything but your money and your work. You don't sacrifice anything for us.
Because he's always working in business. How do you know he's a businessman, Kyle?
Because he has on. Look at the. He's looking like Larry King.
He does. He's got a tie and suspenders, and it's like we're like, we need you to dress like a businessman. He's like, how to business suspenders, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So they're arguing and they're like fighting, and the little girl's on the couch crying.
You don't even care that your daughter's sitting right there, listening to us fighting.
Because her parents are fighting.
And this was the beginning of them desperately trying to explain why this girl growing up in Utah has a British accent.
It was strange. I saw this hooded person and then they just disappeared as fast as I saw them.
I was so confused for so long about that because because the little girl, you don't hear her speak for the first part, and so we don't hear her speak till she's older. But he goes, the mom says, well, why don't, he goes, I'm going to leave that, or she says, get out, and he goes, where am I going to go? And she says, you can go to London and spend time there with all those girls I'm sure you have in London.
Yeah.
What will I do if I leave? What will you do?
I don't know. Go to London. I'm sure you've got lots of women there just waiting to take you in.
Oh, and I was like, well, that seems random and weird, but okay.
And it's not the father does not, he's straight American accent.
Yeah, but I guess the idea
he sounds like Grizzly Adams.
Yeah, I guess his idea is he's like a jet-setting businessman or something like that. You know what I mean? So he spends time over there.
He's got a second family.
Yeah, I get the idea, but like, so I'm like, well, that was okay. That seemed random, and then so he leaves. That whole.
You think that's still doable? To be like a business guy and effectively have two families.
I'm pretty sure there are several movies about that.
Yeah, there's several movies about it. Is it doable? That's what I'm asking. Maybe even
probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, okay. Well, if any of our viewers are in this situation, go ahead and give us a little insight.
Okay.
That's just one of those things that struck my eye. I was like, oh, maybe he has a second family.
So then it cuts. Her dad leaves. It cuts, and now she's older. It dissolves to her as, I would say. Well, we know how old roughly she is because she's in college. Mm-hmm. It's what it sounds like. Because she's home from school, and they say again in London.
You know, I'm so excited to have you home from school from London.
And I was like, what is it with them in London?
Yeah,
I was so confused. And then we hear the girl fucking talk, and I'm like, wait.
I saw this hooded person and then they just disappeared as fast as I saw them.
So because she goes to college in London, she has a British accent now. How long could she have possibly... Now, I know that you can pick up accents if you live in a place long enough, but how long could she have possibly been in school in London to have a British accent? Anyways, it's so strange to me.
No clue there.
But so she has a British, so they cast, I assume it's a real accent. It would have to be, because how silly would it be for them to cast an American girl, have her put on a British accent, and then go through all this trouble of explaining away why she has a British accent.
I love these times that you're here, and I'm so excited for this trip. I hope you are too.
I'm glad to be home.
Let's go.
And so they're going to go out and hang out or whatever. And they like driving in the car, dancing, partying, having a grand old time in the vehicle when... And so, and then she wakes up in the hospital.
With some great makeup.
The makeup in this movie is... fantastic.
But when she woke, when they showed that, I was like, is she like half eggplant now?
It's so purple. The bruises are so purple. They are, yes, it's, I know what you're going for. You're going for some bruising there, but oh boy, that's not what bruises look like. Those are just violet splotches on her face. Yeah. I'll give him this. Unlike Neil Breen, this actually takes place in some sort of actual clinical setting.
It looks like a legit hospital
of some sort. There are machines and
now, granted,
equipment.
The nurse who informs her that her mom dies, the immediate action for somebody who's had horrific injuries and has a neck brace on is to cradle her head, because it's not like it's injured at all.
She died in the accident.
No!
Yeah, it's really good.
I could just hear the snapping.
Yeah. Now you're both dead. Your money is mine. It's all some elaborate plot by this nurse to fucking steal this family's money. But also, I love there's some weird background noise that I assume... What?
Let's have a way to end that. Breaks neck, fade to black. The end, the unexpected race, ... to death.
Oh, what an ending. Would save you an hour and 12 minutes. So then it cuts to a little bit later, and she's still in the hospital. I think she's talking to like a nurse or like a psychologist or whatever now about, and she basically tells her like, well, I have my dad or whatever. But I love during this, her bruises are gone already.
Yeah.
Like completely fine now. I think it's supposed to be like pretty recently after. But there's also during this scene, there's this weird background noise that carried over from the scene before that I think was like a backing track of like hospital noises. But I don't know what it is, because it almost sounds like a money counter machine. You know, like a brrr, like in the back. Like, what the fuck is it? It's so weird because there's two people.
There's some great audio things throughout this whole film.
The production quality of this film is not the best in the world.
Well, it's basically my film.
Yeah. So it's not the best in the world. They spent more than $500 on this movie because they spent more than
$400.
Sorry, they spent more than $400 on this movie just on the costumes alone. For the I mean, not that there are that many, but the elven costumes that they have, they had to spend a little bit of money on them. So I love too. She goes, "Well, I do have my dad," and they flash back to the scene from literally 45 seconds ago in this movie to be like, oh yeah, that guy. Remember that guy you just saw in the movie?
Is there anyone that is a close relative that could help you get back on your feet?
My dad is the only one.
That's her dad.
When we're reintroduced, okay, the dad has the greatest beard I've seen.
It's a really good beard.
Especially in an independent film. It is just
full.
Thick. It is Grizzly Adams as shit.
Yeah. And right before we get to introduce to him, though, we have a really amazing ADR line where the nurse is saying something, and then it's I swear to God, a completely different woman says, "Need anyone to talk to?"
That if you need anything, need anyone to talk to, I'll be there for you.
And the sound drops out. A different person says that line, and then her voice comes back in. It's incredible.
That if you need anything, need anyone to talk to, I'll be there for you.
And she gets home and she's hanging out with her dad, and her bruises are completely gone, like I said. And she decides, I'm feeling better. I'm going to go for a walk in the woods. I'm going to take a little trek through the woods. And what does she spy with her little eye, Kyle?
Or fucking elf.
Hello?
Well, she doesn't know it yet, but she does see a mysterious hooded person run through.
She sees a suspiciously tall Jawa.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Which later he's talking about the shot of him running through. Which actually, this guy has made movies with Jawas in it.
That does not surprise me at all.
He has made numerous Star Wars fan films, and they're amazing. Actually, one of them is really delightful. This is one of the things. Some of his movies, I actually really enjoy what this guy's doing, assuming he's not like wasting all of his money and his like family starving because he makes all these movies. He seems like him and his friends have a blast making these things, and they're bad. But it seems like they look like a lot of fun. And one of them actually had a really kind of a funny, silly concept. I don't want to get into too much because we might talk about it later at some point. But it was a Star Wars fan film, and they find a hula hoop, and it's like this weird like goofy thing of like these Star Wars characters like trying to figure out what a hula hoop is. It was actually kind of delightful in like a weird, stupid way. But it's also terribly produced, just the same.
So did they go so far forward in time? Because Star Wars is a long time
that
ago.
Or this hula hoop can time travel. Maybe it's
two.
But anyways, it's.
I can only imagine. It's a hula hoop. It's bigger on the inside. You just gotta spin it.
Yeah. But the final gag of that one is Darth Vader doing a hula hoop using the Force. It's amazing.
I think I've got the hang of this.
It's amazing. And this guy also must be friends with like a bunch of people from the 501st or something, because they has like all these people show up in his movies with like really good Star Wars like costumes, you know what I mean? So he must be friends with people that have like Jawa's costumes and all kinds of stuff.
What am I supposed to do with that?
Anyways, that's so then we cut to, she gets back and she asks her dad if there's anybody who lives around in the woods.
Hikers.
So that later, we run.
Well, no. Oh, he says that there might be hikers.
Right. But nobody lives around here. And she goes, well, have you ever seen anyone in the woods or something like that? And he goes, well, this one time.
Around the time your mom and I split up, I was in the woods and I had an accident that severely hurt my leg.
And I love this. This line is one of my favorite things I've ever seen in a movie. Coming up in a second.
This movie is probably 70% flashback.
Yeah. Oh, because the middle part, once she meets the elf, is like 30 minutes of flashback. Yeah. But so he flashes back to this moment where he hurt his leg. And he's like, I hurt my leg, and the makeup effect on the leg.
I jacked it up.
Yeah. Also, her dad absolutely looks like Dan Harmon when he's running through the woods, and it's like with like chubby and this giant beard, just like it's kind of spot on. But he hurt his leg and he kind of falls on the ground. He's like passing out, and then there's this hooded figure that is helping him. Like he like comes to and sees this hooded figure like tending to his leg or whatever, and he's like, well, I don't know what, but then he passes back out. But he says, when I came to, someone was trying to help me. And then this is what he says, and it might be, I'm not kidding, my favorite line we've ever had in a movie, because it's so amazingly silly in the best way. Because nobody, here it is. When I came to, someone was trying to help me. And we've already seen the flashback. This is him explaining it after. And in the flashback, it comes to like a first person view, and it's super out of focus, right? Yeah. And so it comes to, and then the dad goes, when I came to, someone was trying to help me. They were out of focus. But they did help me.
When I came to, someone was trying to help me. They were out of focus, but they did help me.
Yes.
They were out of focus. You are describing the movie. That's not how human beings talk. They were out of focus.
Might be how elves talk.
Yeah. You would say like, I couldn't see them clearly. I was dazed, or I was barely conscious, but
nope.
They were out of focus.
I didn't check my focus node.
Not I wasn't able to focus on them. My eyes were blurry. They were out of focus. It is so. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. It's such a silly line in the best way, because it's just like, you were like, okay. In this, he's writing the script and goes, he wrote the scene before and wrote, the dad comes to, and then we cut to an out of focus shot of the person helping him. So then the next line, the dad writes,
"Is that a focus, right?"
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
It's so good. It's so good.
When I came to, someone was trying to help me. They were out of focus, but they did help me.
Okay. So then she finally meets the elf. He comes up behind her, puts a knife to her neck, and is like, and then they share a discussion about how the fact that her people, the humans, killed all of his people. But we're going to see that. We've had that explained to us 4 times in this movie.
Where do you think he got that knife from?
Oh, you mean
they got the
prop? Yeah, that came from like a mall ninja store. It is absolutely mall ninja shit, where it is one of those like, or they went to a Ren fair. or Ren Fair, one of the knife selling places at Ren Fair. They get one of those ones that's not remotely historically accurate in any way. Now, to be fair, this is a fantasy setting, so it is an elven blade of some sort. But yeah, it's one of the. It's got the middle, it has a hole in it. Like
what's it called? What's the name of the sword? All.
Does he give it a name in the movie?
I have no clue.
Oh, I don't think so.
What would his?
Well, his name. We find out his name is Lythorian. And so and it's not a sword, it's like it's like a knife, maybe a short, it's pretty small, it's not a full length sword. It would be a sword for a halfling, but not for
prick.
No. I'm thinking of needle or sting. No. I have the second half of it. I have the title, but I need a name for it. I got it. Grewblade the Fed Slayer. Because he kills FBI agents with it.
It has a +1 Bane federal agent on it.
Grewblade the Fed Slayer. I like it. That's what it would be called. Wait. So we find out his name is Lythorian and that his people were elves, but they're all killed. And he explains, I
love how his elves are the equivalent of like the old-fashioned days of a Mormon commune.
Yeah.
Like
I assume. I don't know what that means.
Like I'm talking like
it would make sense for him because he was Mormon, I think.
Well, yeah, like when they were in say Missouri and then Utah. Yeah, where they're just out in the wilderness. You have basically like the way they treated everything felt almost Amish like.
A little bit. I mean, they're going for a very because he makes it and kind of the similar. He was going for the themes of Lord of the Rings, of industrialism versus, sort of a more agrarian type of lifestyle, and that clash between, that. And because he even says as much in this movie about how, like, the humans came with all their industrialization and killed us off and that sort of thing. So he's going for these elves are a very peaceful, like, hunter-gatherer community who just lives off the land in the woods and doesn't...
Who aren't unfamiliar with blacksmithing.
Yeah, they have really badass daggers, but they don't. And apparently, I don't know where they get those from because maybe they trade. Maybe they used to trade with some orcs or something. I don't know. So we get a flashback, and I love the flashback. It cuts to it before the main character, who is played by Stephen Grew, Lythorian, even finishes his sentence. He's still talking, and the sound fades out over him.
I was out gathering wood, and then I heard a gunshot.
Is he wearing a wig?
Oh, 100%, yeah. Yeah, that's a wig.
Great.
It's a great wig. It's a great wig. And I think he might be wearing some slight prosthetics on, like... Because he's also definitely wearing contacts of some sort. Yeah. His eyes are like a yellowy kind of color, or brown kind of color. But they look different to me. They don't look...
Maybe he has Wilson's disease.
I don't... Isn't that the one... What is that one?
That's one... It's like a copper buildup or something.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I think he's wearing contacts.
Let's go with that.
So then we go and we have like a montage of them dying. This is where the feds show up to kill this. It's
glorious montage.
My favorite thing about this is that it's the FBI showing up to do this are just a bunch of guys in suits with pistols running through the woods murdering elves.
And it's the 1960s, so they gotta have fedoras.
Yeah, the main guy has a hat, and then he has a revolver. But a lot of them are just like, just normal. They're wearing suits, running through the woods, gunning down elves. It's fucking incredible. I love one of the elves has a sling and hits a dude in the face with it, and then she just gets shot immediately and dies. And all the obvious wigs, like all the women, I think it's mostly their real hair, it looks like, but all the dudes are absolutely wearing like really ridiculous cheap wigs. And there's also one of the feds is this girl running around with an untucked white shirt and a black tie, and she just runs up to an elf who gets on the ground and goes like this, and she just fucking shoots. It's fucking amazing. I love it so much. He comes back and there's a moment where he comes up to the body of one of the elves as they're dying, and they die like in his arms. And I was so hoping we were gonna get. We don't get it. I wrote it like 8 times. I was like, look at the scream, look at this guy and scream, look at this guy and scream.
I was waiting for it the whole time.
Yeah. But there's some really, really great death falls in this too. There's one shot in particular where these 2 elves are running and they get shot, and the guy literally, one of them is like, like it's like so...
My favorite elf out of all of them is one particular elf.
Is it the dude who plays the flute?
Yes!
Yes!
Totally.
With the blonde wig?
Yes, it's amazing. I saw him play that flute. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
He's making the weirdest faces. He's like, it's amazing. It looks like he's actively like taking the piss out of the movie while he's in the movie. Exactly. Oh, it's incredible. And then at the end, I don't understand this. The main guy with the hat points his gun at Lythorian, but then like makes a face and puts his gun down.
I guess they forgot to add the action of click.
Oh yeah, or so, like he just like watches him run away and doesn't shoot him. I'm like, what? All right, fine.
That was a long time ago.
They're like, well, why did they kill you all? And he's like, well, maybe they thought because we elves live so long that we were the superior race.
Why would we do that to a whole race?
Maybe they thought because we lived longer, we were the better race.
And that's why they killed us. It's like, all right, sure.
How long do elves live?
Well, in this instance, in this movie, they live roughly, normally, the average lifespan, 7,000 years.
And Lord of the Rings is like pretty much as long as they have their little...
As long as the light of their star burns or whatever, or something like that. It's a long time, yeah. It's also thousands of years.
We find out Lythorian's like 3,000?
He's 3,000, so he's right in the prime of his life. So then we get a...
All the flashbacks where he talks about horseback riding.
Well, yeah, we're getting there. First, we got to set up their relationship between. And by the way, we haven't explained that Amber is the name of the girl.
God, there's so much to unpack.
There's a lot. But we're gonna jump through a lot of it with the flashback, with the horseback riding, because that's really boring. That's the boring part of the movie. But real quick, I got to talk about just their. This is where they establish their relationship and they start falling in love. And I love that they're just like frolicking through the meadow together. Like they just met. They're frolicking through the meadow together and waltzing. I'm like, all right, fine. Oh, we also cut back because this is important. We cut back for one scene where her dad walks out of the house to his truck and goes,
and gets stung by a bee.
Well, we don't know that at the time. I was like, what the fuck happened? I thought a Fed hit him with a blow dart or something. Like, because he's walking to his car, he opens the door, he goes, and then stumbles and falls over, and I was like, what the fuck just happened? But we do ultimately find out that he got stung by a bee and he's allergic to him.
Not the bees!
Not the bees!
Oh, no, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah! Open my eyes! My eyes! Ah!
Okay, so then this is where we get the horse flashback. He goes, there was this day, I recall this day where I was on a horse. On a horse.
on a horse. Even though our simple, primitive ways, we still were able to saddle them with modern...
And shod them.
Yes, with modern riggings.
Yeah, they were totally just normal saddles and everything on these horses. And so we literally watch him and this other dude ride a horse for like 10 straight fucking minutes.
Are you ready for me to hit you with some information about a guy I've worked with in the past in film? Okay, so this guy I worked with, he was in the Lord of the Rings movies. Oh, okay. I think, or at least one, maybe two of them. He played an elf. He had luscious flowing locks at the time. And they had him do that because he was a relatively shorter guy with long hair and could ride a horse. And they were like, "You're playing an elf." So I can't remember what scene or what movie, but in one of theirs. Yeah,
there you go. So, that's pretty cool.
I got a weird connection to that Lord of the Rings.
If you can get me a prop or Peter Jackson's semen, either one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
I can get you like a Hobbit foot. You want a Hobbit foot?
Yeah, as long as it's Sean Astin's and he has worn it recently. If I can't smell his foot when I get it, I don't want it. So they ride these horses for like literally like 10 minutes of screen time because they rented horses for a day. They're not going to not get their money's worth of riding these horses around. And they like random shots have this weird vibrance filter on them for no reason where it's like it's like bloomed and weird and
everything's in slow-mo.
Yeah, lots of slow-mo.
And every single scene lasts until someone has exited the scene.
Enter scene right. Exit scene.
There's a particular one where it takes forever for the other person on horseback to ride out. And I'm just like,
oh my God. Another elf shows up like halfway through the horse riding scene with the blonde hair and is following him.
Not the flute one though.
No, not that one, a different one. And I'm like, who is this Haldir looking motherfucker? And it turns out they're friends because they start, we don't realize, we think maybe he's attacking him because they jump off and they're wrestling. Yeah, they start wrestling. But then it turns out that they're just buddies because then these two girls, elves, stroll up and are like, it's time to go to the festival or feast or whatever.
Are you two finished playing yet? We're gonna be late for the feast.
Which apparently they also don't have any furniture.
No.
This festival is just a bunch of elves in a field standing around dancing.
Well, the way elves are portrayed in this, they have like they have no living conditions whatsoever.
No. We show him sleeping on the ground.
Yeah.
Just curled up on the floor.
He's a crazy person.
Yeah, it was like, come on, man. You're you're like a super old like high fantasy race. You would have a bed of some sort.
You have 3,000 years. You can't build a house. Come on,
or at least get a sleeping bag.
I built a table in a couple of weeks, and that was only working on like 2 hours a day.
But you did have power tools, which they don't have. So.
Well, shut up.
And then this is where we meet the flute playing guy, because I wrote, we're at the Elven feast. This motherfucker playing this flute is my favorite thing ever. There's a great scene where they're like throwing knives at a tree, and the sound effect of the knife hitting the tree. It's like, you can definitely tell the influence of Lord of the Rings here. I mean, throughout the whole thing, obviously. But there's one scene in particular
the music
here.
is like, unbelievably Irish.
It is absolutely royalty-free Lord of the Rings music. Because at the end there's credits that says royalty-free music by royaltyfreekings.com or something like that. Which, hey, I understand, man. You use that royalty-free music. That's our fucking theme music is royalty-free music. And
thank you to all who create those things.
The RoccoW in particular is the person who created our. You can find his video on YouTube and like there's like 5 or 6 comments that are like good, better, bad comment. The song is called Pumped. And then we literally so many times of just people walking through the woods, talking to each other, but we don't get to hear it. It's just music and them talking. I'm like, boy, it would be nice if we got to hear what our main characters...
That requires more writing.
Yeah, you would have to write that. And obviously that's not... As we can tell in this scene coming up, the writing was a little limited. I have a feeling a lot of this was sort of half improv, half is what the feeling I get. It could be wrong.
Why did you want to talk to me anyway?
Why do you think so?
I think perhaps because you might like me, maybe.
But the very next line, when he does, after they walk through the woods, he does sit down and talk to the redhead, who's his Lylirian, I believe is her name. I only knew that because of the very end of the movie, which we'll get to in a second. She says, I like you, Lythorian, and he says, like is a very simplistic word.
Like is a very simple, simplistic word.
Most women would probably find that as an insult.
Also, he does this a lot in this movie where he's trying to write very clearly the Lord of the Rings inspiration, trying to write sort of poetically and romantically and sort of this high not concept, but where the all the words are very flowery.
Do you love me strongly?
Enough to where the beat of my heart would stop if you were not next to me.
And beautiful, and so he's like, he tries to elevate everything and use lots of, probably pulled out his thesaurus a lot and like tried to look up words, so it sounded very elven and like high culture.
Then I shall always be next to you. If your heart was to stop, my soul could no longer beat to its rhythm, no longer exist to its strength.
It reminded me so much of every one of the romance scenes between Padma and Anakin in episode 2, where it's just
it's a sand. It just gets everywhere.
Yeah.
Your people sound great. Listen.
Do we go back to future?
Yes, now we're back in normal time.
So this is the particular scene that the audio levels get kind of jacked.
Listen, I gotta go. It's getting late.
Don't want to keep your father waiting.
She is well balanced.
Yes,
you can hear her pretty well.
Right.
And every time he goes to him, they gotta jack it up real quick.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be back.
All right. Take care.
Okay.
And then they split up, and then we get literally like 6 minutes of, oh my God. All it is it cuts to one of them walking through the woods, and then a voiceover of them going, I love him or her, but I can't be with him or her because we're so different from him or her.
How do I really love you, Amber? Am I willing to sacrifice for you? What is your race going to think of me?
Why am I falling in love with something that I read in a book when I was 2 years old? What's my dad gonna think?
And what will my parents think or my dad think? And then it cuts to the other one and they have the exact same thing. But we do that. We go back and forth like 6 times and it's the same information over and over again. It's just like,
Elves and humans aren't supposed to be together, right? Elves aren't supposed to exist anyway. I just don't know what I'm gonna do.
Then there's Lylirian. The vows I made with her. I told her I would never leave her. She is now gone.
But now I'm feeling torn about this. And it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And I love it cuts to, and my favorite of these lines is it cuts to Lythorian and he literally says in the voiceover, the conflict is, because she's human, she won't live as long as I will.
The conflict is, because she's human, she won't live as long as I will.
Has there ever been a more expository sentence than that in a movie of just, hey viewer, the conflict we're feeling in this scene is, she won't live as long as me.
For the record, we find out later that's not really a problem.
She absolutely could have if he just would have fucking gave her some of his elven juice or whatever the fuck he did for that. Yeah, we'll find that out later. But holy shit.
People say goodbye in their own special way.
I love this too, because we cut to one more flashback real quick. He goes, in voiceover, he goes, I even remember that day you told me not to go. I did not listen. And then it cuts to the scene.
This is the dumbest, most pointless fucking scene.
And he goes, and it's her and him, and he goes, I must go. And she goes, do not go today.
I still remember that day that you told me not to go. I did not listen.
I must go.
Don't. Do not go today.
I was like, you just said that!
I gotta collect the firewood!
He goes, I have to! The firewood! It's so important! And I'm like, why would you write a voiceover saying exactly what you're about to say in the next... Just show us that scene!
I still remember that day that you told me not to go. I did not listen.
I must go.
Don't. Do not go today.
It's so amazing.
At that point, I was feeling kind of upset. Brian, I'm feeling upset.
Oh, are you?
This is what I've seen in a parody film.
Yeah.
And they
do it for real. They do it for real.
I feel something.
Do not worry.
My heart will be broken if you go today.
I am just gathering firewood, my love. I must go.
And I love too, she like the implication here is like she doesn't want him to go collect firewood, and he's like, I remember that day where she didn't want me to go, and if only I hadn't gone. I'm like, you'd be dead too.
Yeah, exactly.
You would have been died with the rest of your people. I mean, maybe he would prefer that, because then he's been lonely for 1,000 years or for 40, 50 years or whatever.
Again, I am torn between two women. One living and one dead.
And then he does have one great moment while again, so much walking voiceovers. He picks up a stick and just angsty breaks it against a tree.
They killed my people.
But this love is with a race that I never thought I could love. Especially when they destroyed mine.
I love it. I love like an angsty conniption fit from an elf. Like, I'm so mad. So then she finds out, she gets home, Amber gets home and realizes that...
Oh, shit.
Oh, my dad is dying. Oh, what the hell? And then she goes, I need Lythorian to help him. So she runs to find Lythorian. There's a really great fake thunderstorm, which is just flashes on the screen. There's no rain or anything.
It's not like I'm sure, I mean, he's got to have like a EpiPen or something like that, right?
You would think if he's allergic to bees and lives in the middle of nowhere, you should probably have some sort of something you could do.
I mean, Nicolas Cage had an EpiPen.
Yeah,
but they treated him with the old ways.
And he has a dream while Amber's coming to find him, where his old girlfriend tells him to go and smash that new girlfriend, and he's like, "All right."
About Amber. It's okay for you to be with her. It is now the time. Not for me.
And he wakes up and Amber finds him and he goes to help her dad. And then I love, it's just one of my favorite juxtapositions, and one of the reasons I wanted to do this movie is I watched in the trailer, you see this moment where the elf walks into the kitchen of this house, and it's just...
I've done all that I can for your father, but he should be fine.
He looks so out of place, but not in like an interesting way, just in like, oh, this is bad. Like he's in an elf in full elven clothing walking through like a cluttered kitchen in like,
it looks like a crazy person living.
Yeah, there's like open food on the counters and like an old wood burning stove. Yes. And like it just, and there's a chessboard on the kitchen counter.
What was that about? What was that about, Brian? Why is there a chessboard right there?
I don't know. He's playing chess, and it's not even facing in a way where you could play it. You know what it was? It was sitting on the dining room table, but they had to film on the dining room table, so he picked it up and moved it over to the background and set it on the fucking kitchen counter. It's so strange.
I saw that in the background. I was like, why is that there?
Yeah, it would make a little bit of sense if it was turned to at least where...
Now, I shouldn't get this excited or upset about a chessboard, but it's just so off-putting.
I got pretty upset about a chessboard and Checkmate, so I understand your concern. The move we see... He moves the white king next to the brown or whatever black queen and says checkmate. So he ends up saving her dad. He uses some sort of elven magic on him, and he's fine. And then he walks out into the kitchen, and they have a sweet makeout sesh. And at this moment, some campers stumble upon the house.
I can't believe you didn't bother to check the weather report.
I'm sorry. Maybe these people will let us spend the night.
And these two people look through the window and they're like, "Ooh, yeah." Yeah, basically just kind of watching them. They're like, maybe we should, because I guess they thought it was like raining and they wanted somewhere to stay instead of, I don't know. They were worried about the weather or something. So they're trying to go into the house to stay there. And they're like, well, maybe they're a little busy. Maybe we won't go, but they stay there and keep watching. And then Amber goes and reaches up and brushes Lythorian's hair behind his ear so that his elven ear is revealed, and these people are like lose their goddamn minds. And now this is so stupid, because if this was me and I stumble across a house and I look it through their window and these people are making out, and then one of them brushes their hair back and they have one of them has slightly longer elven ears, I'm going, okay, we need to go somewhere else, because clearly we would have stumbled across this couple's fantasy role play at night. We got not interrupt this. They're in the middle of their thing. That's fun. Do your thing.
+2 dex, +2 intelligence, -2 con.
So I would just be like, when I say fantasy role play, I mean like sexual role playing night. Like, oh, that's what's about to happen. So we bounce out. But they're like, they freak out and literally, okay, so here's the two things. One, I would not think, oh my God, a real elf. I would just absolutely not in a million years.
No.
Like I said, they're.
Well, Brian, it's because you grew up in that falsehood. It's because you grew up in that lie.
That's true. That elves don't. That elves.
You got to open up your mind
creatures.
to the possibilities.
Apparently, these campers did, because one, okay, elves are real. Holy shit! I wouldn't believe that, but I wouldn't think that. I would just think somebody was wearing a costume or something. Two, if I did believe that, I wouldn't run away screaming, "We need to get to the cops."
What was that? I don't know. We've got to tell the authorities.
We're almost to the car.
Because it's my cat. He's way down the hallway. We need to get to the... Why would you go, we need to get to the cops because there's an elf in this house?
We gotta tell the sheriff?
Yeah.
My favorite thing was when they were driving, because they took a photo of him.
Oh yeah, because this is the thing that for him that I don't understand. I guess the idea is that he doesn't know what to do because he sees that they saw him. So he runs and jumps on the hood of their car with a knife out.
What the? What? Ah! Ah!
Why? Okay. And so they snap a picture and drive off. So they get there and the cops
this is where they meet Jack Black.
Yeah. That's absolutely, holy shit. That is who that is.
Yeah.
Oh man. That's why, and that's perfect because it's like in the movie for like 5 minutes. We'll talk. You don't know what we're talking about yet. It's exciting. Wait till we get there. Jack Black, not in this movie, but
yet. ...
This is the sheriff. The highway is secure.
But so the sheriff is like, well, I know some people higher ups who could really want this information.
Yeah, if you excuse me, we're gonna hard cut to a blank wall in a very uninteresting room.
But I know people in high places that would like this information. We'll get right on it.
Yeah.
To this FBI agent.
Yeah. Well, at first he calls the guy who's asleep. Yeah. And wakes up, grabs the phone, and says, "After all these years, I have you."
Round up the team. Oh. After all these years, I have you.
Which is incredible.
That bastard killed my best friend in the field.
Yeah. And then so that we cut to an FBI briefing room, and I love it's just a whiteboard that has they've scribbled the words FBI briefing on. It's like, yeah, fantastic. And this guy playing the other FBI agent, like the second in command or whatever, is amazing.
Sir, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Why do you want him so bad?
He's so going for like, I'm a bad guy. I'm a bad guy talking about doing bad things, so I talk like this all the time. But sir, what do we know about them? How should we go about killing them based on what we know about them? Like he talks.
Based on what we know of them, how do you want us to take him out?
Whatever it takes, I want him dead.
And then it cuts to them, those two driving in a car, and there's a couple really delightful things in this scene. One, their conversation is incredible. It's just back and forth. He's like, he used stealth like I've never seen before.
He killed half my team back in the 60s. He used stealth like I'd never seen before.
What makes this time so different from the last?
I know his ways.
I don't know how to describe it. It's a bit like a 12-year-old writing what they think FBI agents sound like when they talk to each other. You know what I mean?
I feel honored to follow in your footsteps, sir. But I wonder, what's the real reason we're doing this? What does the agency want with this race, especially in the 60s?
But also in this scene, there's a great, if you look above the driver's side on the sun visor,
what's in there?
The lav mic that they're using to record the scene is pinned to the visor of the car, and it's just in the shot every time it cuts.
That's awesome.
It's incredible.
So just a little thing on my film. I know I'm keep harking back to mine just because
they're so similar.
The production quality is very similar.
Not too far.
Whenever we were shooting a car scene in my film, I suction cupped a second camera onto the car, and the inside audio was me running two lavs up through our stuff and hiding it behind our collars.
Yeah. Well, at least you hit it. This one, they literally pinned it to the visor, and it's just in the shot. It's just there the whole time.
I was waiting for a boom to drop in the frame quite often throughout this film.
Yes, it never does. Not that I noticed. So good on you for that one.
Forrest, there's more to this manhunt than you know. But he will fall today, and I will be the one to do it.
Oh, and then we find out, because they show up at the house, we find out their names are Agent Hardman and Agent Forrest.
I'm Agent Hardman, and this is Agent Forrest.
Which is awesome. And he says the line, I mean, there's so many great cliches, but he says the line, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way.
We can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way.
And I love, too, there's an extreme close-up all of a sudden. Like, so she's like, Amber's like, we don't know anybody like what you're talking about. And they're like, well, it seems like you do, because why would you yell that at us from across the room? And then she walks up and literally the camera...
The greatest close-up ever!
I need to use the bathroom.
Go use it.
It literally zooms into this is the only time in this movie where anything like that happens. It's just like eyeballs. Well, sorry, there is the other couple times where we see the elf looking at her where it's just eyeballs. And I love, she goes, I need to use the bathroom.
You talking about Stephen Grew's like soulless eyes that we look at? He has.
I think it's the contact lens.
Yeah, I think it's the contact lens. He borders on Neil Breen eyes.
Yeah,
very close.
But I need to use the bathroom, and I'm like, you're in your own home. Just go to the bathroom. Like, why are you announcing it to the room?
I need to use the bathroom.
Go use it.
And then she runs out. She gets out the window, I guess, and runs away because they're like, sir, she's getting away.
Sir, she's running.
And they chase after her, and we get great slow motion of her running through the woods. And this time, they're not wearing suits. The FBI people are all wearing black shirts.
Black t-shirts with FBI on them. And then they specifically say in the credits that FBI is not representative of FBI because it uses like a different logo or something.
Yeah, but it's the same. It's just the letters. Like, but it's my favorite. It's the federal or no. What is it in Checkmate and the FBA, Federal Bureau Association or agency? Federal Bureau Agency.
FBA, Federal Bureau Agency.
Which is
a little redundant, but and he goes, but
it's the federal agency.
But he also, I love too that thing you're talking about, the end where it says the FBI agents are not. It says the FBI agents depicted in the following film or in the following scenes. And there's only one scene after that.
Yeah.
It's the post-credit. Anyways, I was like, you mean the previous scenes? Because this is at the end of the movie. What are you... Okay.
Are you hearing my song now?
You're bringing good music to my ears.
All right.
I kind of like your song.
Yeah, they all have FBI shirts. They run into the woods, and then she warns him, and he goes full Ewok on him. He starts hitting them with logs out of trees and shit, and like popping up out of bushes and like breaking necks and stuff. He stabs the shit out.
All he's missing was taking control of ATST.
Yeah. He ends up stabbing like two of them. He jumps on one. He swings out of a tree and lands on one guy and stabs him in the chest and then throws his knife into another guy's chest. It's kind of amazing. And then there's a great scene too where he gets in between two FBI agents, and he's like,
yes,
and he hears the one come up behind him.
He passes his reflex save and gets out of the way.
Oh, it's incredible. And then he challenges an FBI agent to single combat. He's like, the guy has a gun on him. He's like...
Which lasts all of about 45 seconds.
Yeah, fight me like a man. Why don't you fight me like an elf? Come on.
Can't kill me by your own hand?
Why not?
And they karate chop. He ends up getting... Yeah, and then he ends up getting his knife out and just stabbing him. I'm like, well, that's not... You were supposed to fist fight, and you just stabbed him in the chest with a knife. And when he stabs him, it is not even. He literally is like, it's like stab. Oh, I got him. Like it's
nailed it.
Nailed it. Yeah. Great line where one of the Agent Agent Forrest says he's a dead man, and Agent Hardman says he's no man.
He's a dead man. He's no man.
God damn it! I need you to stop just fucking stealing lines from everything. And he runs up to a river, and I was really hoping we were gonna get a dummy shot of him jumping into the river, but he just gets winged by a bullet and falls down, and they're like, he's dead. You killed him.
Yep.
We got him.
Look, we got his cloak.
We got his cloak. He's dead. He's gone. And I love that Amber gets this like great moment where she's like, they're like, we had to take him. The FBI guys are like, we had to take him out. He was a threat to national security. And she's like, a threat? You're the threat. And they're all like, I didn't think about it that way.
These people were a potential threat to national security.
A threat? You were the threat?
And we cut to 1 month later, and he just casually strolls up.
Yeah.
To her.
And somehow he got his cloak back.
Yeah, he got his cloak back. He just walks up to her, and she's like, holy shit, you're alive.
Did you think I was that easy to kill?
There's like no dramatic reveal. It's literally a static lockdown shot behind her, and he just walks into the shot. And I'm like, oh,
hey, I'm back, but I gotta go.
So. Gotta go. Yeah, I'm back, but peace, bitch. Like that's literally exactly what happens.
I've been waiting for this moment to tell you. I must go.
What?
And then we cut 62 years later. And this was the most confusing scene I have watched in a while because I did not. Okay, and now they explain it, but for the first second, it says 60 years later, and we're like at Amber's funeral.
Yeah,
it's like holy shit. And then the camera pans across the crowd, and her fucking dad is there, and I was like, quickly doing math in my head of like, wait, 62 years later, let's say she was 18 at the time, that would make her 80 when she died. If her dad was like 40 at the time, that would make him 102 now. He looks awfully fucking good for 102. And then my favorite thing is Lythorian walks up into the background
with a trench coat and a hat, and sunglasses. Oh my god, it looks glorious.
It's his Neo cosplay.
So bad.
Or like his vampire hunter cosplay.
The Matrix and elves do not mix together. It doesn't work.
It's so good. It's incredible. He looks amazing. I love it. How dare you? We find out everybody leaves the funeral, and Lythorian walks up to her dad, and they shake hands, and he's like, look, and her dad's like, dads aren't supposed to outlive their children. Why am I still alive? And I was like, I'm wondering the same thing.
A man should not outlive his children. Why have I outlived my daughter?
And then so he explains, Lythorian explains, when I healed you, I shoved my elven magic into you.
Do you remember that night that I healed you?
Yes.
To guarantee your life, I had to give a part of my life force to you.
And so you're gonna live
Thank you for making that sound as great as possible.
You don't know what they did in that other room.
Yep.
Shoved his elven magic into him, and so now he's gonna live for a long time. And he's like, well, thanks, asshole. I had to watch everybody I love and care about die. Thanks.
You have always protected us. You have always been there for us, and you are here now.
I wouldn't have missed this for the world.
But he explains that he did it because, and I love this, he clearly forgets his line in the middle of this line. He goes, I could not have her lose her father.
I had to do it for the sake of the love that I had for your daughter. I could not have her lose her father on top of her mother.
On top of her mother.
God.
And then he puts on sunglasses, walks out of the shot, fade to black. What an ending. Yo! And then the credits roll. And we find out that Stephen Greer wrote at least one of the songs, which is the song that plays during the credit, which is called I Am the Last. And it's just the words I am the last over and over and over again.
Once my race lived, we fished, we hunted. They are all gone. I am the lost.
But then we get a fucking post-credit scene.
It's amazing.
In 2003.
It's amazing.
This predates. I mean, there are post-credit scenes and other stuff, but he straight up does a post-credit scene. He walks up to this house. He breaks into a house, and he's got his knife out. And he sneaks through the house, and he gets into this room, and it's a bedroom. And he walks over, and he walks and reveals, and we see that it's the FBI agent laying in bed. Now, you just raised a good question earlier.
Yeah.
Is this still 62 years later? Because that FBI agent should be like 140. But, oh, sure. But he puts his knife to the FBI agent's neck.
You've got to be shitting.
Yeah. And the FBI agent goes, what do you want? And he's like, revenge for you killing my whole race.
What do you want?
I want revenge for you killing my whole race.
And then, and right as he slits the guy's throat, he goes, wait.
And of course, like every good FBI agent, you have your entire
top secret file
on your nightstand.
With giant words printed on it that say exactly what it is.
Yes.
He picks it up,
opens it, he's looking at it, and then he has this amazing. I'll put it this way: if this guy would do anything in life, it would be directing soap operas.
Yes.
Because he looked up and then looked off to this and he goes, "She's alive.
She's alive."
My favorite thing is, so what is it? Because what the thing says when he pulls it up so you can see it to the camera, it says top secret, the Lylerian Project. And Lylerian or something like that is the name of the redheaded elf from the beginning, who we actually never saw die, but he just assumed died, I think, in the raid or whatever. So I guess maybe if he had stayed with her, he wouldn't have died.
Or I think I figured it out. The Lylarian Project is a government experiment to extend the lives of individuals based on the DNA or the biological and how elf works.
Oh, and Amber's alive?
No. The elf woman's alive.
Oh, but they used her.
They were using her, whatever.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. That is what they were doing.
No, yeah, and so that explains why he might be alive 62 years later.
Oh, Stephen Grew is operating on the next level. Woo! That's the end of the film, though. It ends. I have a couple little tidbits of information to share with you. First, there are 2 sequels to this film. Unexpected Race 2 and Unexpected Race 3. And you best damn believe we're watching all of them. Second, and more fucking importantly, this movie was remade like last year. And I'm not fucking kidding you. It stars Jack Black. And,
I wish he was the elf.
John Heater.
I wish he was the elf.
He's not the elf. He plays the sheriff, as we kind of alluded to earlier. He plays some sort of sheriff because you see him in the trailer.
We got Jack Black and Napoleon.
Yeah, Napoleon Dynamite is in it. They're both in it for a scene. They both shot for like a day.
Yeah.
But they're both in it. It's shot in 4K, the remake, but it looks amazing.
Who are you?
My name is Amber. Why are you here?
I kind of can't wait to watch it. But yeah, so we have all of that to look forward to, not to mention countless other projects from Stephen Grew. I highly recommend. He has a Vimeo.
He's a master.
He is. I'm going to give it a good bad. I will say this. I'll give it a good bad. Do you agree?
Oh, yeah.
I will say this. There's a fair amount of boring in the middle.
Damn that cat.
I know, it's just gonna keep going. It doesn't matter. So you can kind of hit the fast forward in the middle of the movie during some of the montages of like elves, like
except for the Piper elf.
Yeah, you gotta find the Piper elf. But the rest of it. But here's the other thing. He has a Vimeo. Wolf Productions, I believe, is the. If you search like the Unexpected Race Vimeo, you'll find it. You can buy all of his movies on Vimeo. You can rent them on Vimeo for like a few bucks. Go check out. He has a bunch of movies on there. You can watch the trailers. Go find some of your favorites, and then let us know which ones we should watch.
It's glorious.
Go support this man.
Stuff.
They're freaking incredible. Also, he has a YouTube channel that is Utah Wolf Productions, so go check him out there. Hopefully, he gets ad revenue from that or something like that. Watch the, and those have all like short films and like again like Star Wars fan films and like Batman and Superman short, all kinds of stuff. It's truly amazing. It is the incredible Stephen Grew. So check him out. That's all I got for that. I'm not plugging anything this time. So until next time, keep watching movies.
Especially The Unexpected Race, because to us, this was an unexpected joy.